explaining what is this thing that you do, yeah?
Yeah. We work with the Kovacsik Method. This is a natural therapy. We use natural energy from the environment to treat cancer. The most important thing with Kovacsik is not the treatment itself, the procedure to heal people, but the origin, how we see how the disease comes, where it comes from, and how it works in the body. For us, this is most important because here in the Kovacsik, we do not treat tumors. We take out the vitality of the disease, allowing the body to work, so the body provides all the healing process necessary for the person to get better. So for us, there's only one origin for the cancer, that is underground. There's water. So when this water gets contaminated with feces that might come from a cesspool, that goes gets in the
ground.
Yeah, in the ground and reaches the water there, or might be the tubulation from the toilet that breaks, and this content also goes to the ground and reaches the water. The water has a vibration, and then when this feces gets to the water, this vibration changes. Any living being who gets exposed too long to this vibration, you develop cancer. Okay. What happens? This vibration goes on vertical. So the person, animal, any living being, to get exposed must be exactly above this water. So if we are talking a toilet sewage has this large. So if I'm here, there's a big difference for us. You need to be exactly above. So when you begin this exposition, and most of times people move to above this vibration, I mean the person moves to a new house. The previous house there's no harmful vibration, this new one has. Or he might change the seat. I'm sitting here, then I decide my chair to place there, and there has it. The person begins the exposition. For 1 year, usually nothing happens. And during the second year, the person starts to experiment some bad feelings, like gets tired a lot, has trouble sleeping. The person wakes up more tired than before going to sleep, pain throughout the body. There's just a few symptoms of the agent. Yeah? Because for us, the disease the tumor is not the cancer. You understand, the cancer is an agent. It's something that stays around the heart and the spleen area. And this is very important to understand the origin and the agent. So I usually say to people, you don't need to believe Kovacsik, but you must understand. Because once you understand the therapy, you are able to do it. If you believe or not, doesn't make a difference. And this is a huge problem we have. People believing this and doing the things right. But anyway, started the exposition. The agent appears in the body. For 1 year, nothing happens. During the second year of exposition, start to feel these uncomfortable things, these dysfunctions. When completes 2 years of exposition, the agent is strong enough, and then he appear in the common way of cancer, like tumor, bones, or the dysfunction of an organ. After 2 years. So that's when usually people have a medical diagnosis of cancer. Because for the physicians, the allopathic medicine, the tumor is the disease. So he only be diagnosed with cancer when appears this tumor. I'm sorry, it's been a long time I don't speak English, so it's a little bit rust, okay? And the point is, if the disease is the agent, and the agent is here, around the heart and the spleen area, Why do I have a brain tumor or bone cancer or wound in part of my body? What happens? The agent usually express itself usually in the weakest spot in the body. And then I use the smoker, for example. Well, what is the weakest part in the smoke? It is the lungs. It's all the respiratory system, mainly the lungs. So when the agent is strong enough, there you find less resistance. So there probably it appeared for the first time as a tumor. And the thing is, when you get this idea, this theory, and applies to other situations, you see that has some sense. Like if you get men, if 50, 60 years old, what's the most common kind of cancer they have? It's a prostate. Why? Through the Kovacsik eyes is because the prostate in this age they have a change, hormonal change there, so it becomes the weakest spot. So the agent, you find less resistance there. If you take humans as example, the most common cancer in humans are breast and then the reproduction system. So why? Because this is the most vulnerable part for the humans. If you get, an example, kids. Why leukemia is so common among kids? It's because since they are developing, the body is growing, the medulla is working too much. So there is the weakest spot in the children. So there the agent takes advantage of this and show up the first time. And that's why when you see the medical treatment, what happens there? You go there and if you have a breast cancer, they just cut off and they do chemo. I'm not criticizing, just a fact. They do this in most of cases. That's the procedure. But when you do this, according to Kovacsik, you're just taking out the tumor. The agent is still there. So it's just a matter of time for it get strength again and appearing on other part of the body. And that's why cancer keeps coming back most of the times, because people still exposed to the vibration and the agent is still there. So the cancer keep coming, unfortunately until the person dies. That happens to more than 60% of people. The other 40% just don't die because of cancer, because they move. Imagine, for example, I rent this house, I'm living here. I have cancer, so I need to quit job. I don't have money to afford the house, so I go back to my father's house. So I leave the place where I got sick and I went to another place. So when this thing happened, the disease course changes, because it doesn't have anymore the vibration who makes the agent strong, but at the same time the disease is still there. So that's why few people has metastasis right away, like 6 months or 2 years after the treatment, the diagnosis. And other people only have cancer metastasis after 5 years, 10 years. Why? Because they move. If some people get cured, why? Because they moved, and at the same time they moved, they did something that took out the vitality of the agent. For the Kovacsik, we use these metals. This is the U, and this is the accelerator. Right now, in the last 30 years. But before this, Daniel Kovacsik, the one who developed the Kovacsik method, used to give people a drug, a chemical compound he developed himself. Actually, there was 3 kinds of, to take out the vitality of the agent. To avoid the person to go back to this harmful vibration, we do use this insulator. This is the very same he used like in '64. There was no change at all. And he used inside this cotton bag who protects the insulator from the contact of other things around the mind interference. So, what the Kovacsik does and why we have such good results. Actually, what are the results we expect with Kovacsik method? The result is, and what we see actually in 99% of time, people with cancer medical diagnosis of cancer, is that the disease doesn't grow anymore. The disease stops right there. So the tumor doesn't grow anymore, doesn't grow any longer. It stays there. And actually, we expect, of course, it reduces. But our expectation with someone who does the whole protocol, like we say, because a lot of people comes here, and since they don't believe there's no scientific comproval or any of those things, they think this doesn't work, so they can come and do it the way they want to do. But no, the therapy is called Kovacsik Method, and we place method there is not to make it prettier, no, fancy. It's because it's a method. There's the place, and you need to do the A, the B, and the C part of the therapy, and all of them combined gets the result. So what happens in the therapy? We use these two methods. The U we place in the shoulder, under the shirt, contact with the skin, like this. And the accelerator goes in the hand like this. Can leave open or closed, doesn't matter. You don't need to make strength, just leave like this. For 20 minutes. The therapy has 1 year long, and you're gonna do like 14 times of this, 20 minutes. So it's today, next week you do another one, and the other week, the other Friday, you do another one. And after this, you do it monthly, once a month, until you complete 1 year. It's a little bit long, but there's a few reasons and there's a few key points during this this course, the way. So if you have any question, please ask. Okay? If you do not understand, also please, I say that again because I'm a little bit rusty the English. Okay, what happens here? This Daniel Kovacsik discovered natural energy in the environment he called cosmic energy. Actually, it might be the same energy that many other people use under different names, but he named it cosmic energy. That's very healthy. So these two methods combined, they capture this energy from the environment and goes within the body. And the first thing they do is to take out the vitality of the agent, allowing the body to start to regain its functions, the natural functions like healing and many other functions of the body that when the agent is active doesn't work at all. That's why the people have wounds that grow, the tumors grow. Why? Because the body is not working. It's not working because of the agent. So once you take out the vitality of the agent, the body starts to work properly again, and the own body starts the healing process. So all the possible results of the Kovacsik depends always on two things. The first one is what's the organ which was affected by the disease, and the second thing is the damage caused to the body. So let me give you an example. Imagine I had a wound cancer, okay, in my skin, a wound cancer. Let's forget about cancer and let's think about wound, skin. What's the characteristics of the skin? There's a very good regeneration. It's a fast regeneration, and in small parts it's not vital. It's not vital. Yeah. So when we are dealing with someone who has wound cancer as well, prostate or mama, we have very good expectations, and fast expectations. Why? Because the organ provides this. So the opposite situation is when the person has a lung cancer or a spleen cancer, pancreas cancer, because they are very vital organs, very important organs. So also they have a different timing for regeneration and also a different possibility of regeneration. Sometimes they might not get 100% regenerated. For example, if I lose 20% of my lung capability, can I live with 80? Yes, I will be able. Perhaps I will not be able to do everything I would do before, but I can still live. So that's just for understand what's the limitations of the Kovacsik. So the first thing is the disease to stop. The second thing is how far and what can I expect? Depends on the organ. So because people sometimes say, he did the Kovacsik but he died. The first thing is why he died. Because when you're dealing with cancer, there's many things happening. For example, many people die of pneumonia, liver problems, and other ones that there's nothing related to the Kovacsik. Because when you're going to see the tumor, what happened to the tumor? Stop it, reduce it, or disappear. So, okay. What is the results we expect with someone who has cancer during the Kovacsik? The first thing is, in a short term, we expect changing quality of life. That means less pain, better quality of sleeping, better eating, the more appetite to eat, and also more physical disposition. This happens between the very first day and 1 month and a half. Usually when the person gets to 1 month and a half, when they get there, they are completely different. You cannot even tell, looks like someone has cancer. For example, the person we met there in the kitchen, 5 months ago, he had a diagnosis of lung cancer, metastatic. He had cancer in the 2 lungs. He had a 3 to 4 months expectation. And if you look to him right now and I don't tell you he has cancer, you wouldn't imagine he has cancer. Not even it was a lung cancer. 5 months ago. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Did you see the one with the black hair we're talking? Also he had a bladder cancer a few months ago also. He's amazing. He did surgery, he performed surgery, but the physician was going crazy because he couldn't understand.
Sim, sim.
Entra aí, mano.
Posso pegar?
Pode pegar.